Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. We have a ton of important things to talk to you about, especially with the market. We have a key jobs data report that will be released tomorrow, which is going to give us a good indicator on what's happening with inflation in the evolution of inflation this year. And of course, that correlates with the probability of those first interest rate cuts. Now, in addition, we also have Palantir Technologies that had its AIPcon today. And in addition, we also have some activity, and I want to say hope, and some hype that's starting to kind of uproar regarding the possible inclusion into the S&P 500 as that quarterly review board makes an announcement tomorrow on which stocks or what type of updates are going to be happening regarding stocks either entering or leaving the S&P 500. Also, in addition, we have Nvidia that will be undergoing its 10-for-1 stock split. This means you will be given 9 additional shares if you have 1 share of Nvidia if you held the stock today. So big things to talk about. If you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen here, talking about Palantir Technologies. Like we've seen in the previous few days, we've talked about the support of 20, doing a good job holding that level. And we've seen this breakout past this $22 level of resistance and basically into this consolidation phase, into the 22s and 23s. And you can see that we're kind of accelerating past that and possibly pushing up here into the mid 20s. Of course, this 25 here was right before the first quarter earnings were released, and we saw the small change in future guidance, and that's where we saw the correction back to the lower 20s right here. But you see pressure coming in here in terms of bullish momentum, volume at 60 million. Things are looking good. In terms of actual call option, 60,000 at that $24 strike price. We could have a lot of anticipation in trading based off of number one, AIPcon, and of course the possible inclusion into the S&P 500. Now let's talk about first what the whole market is doing in terms of the big indexes. You have the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, basically all consolidating on the day, and the markets are basically taking a break here in terms of the overall big, large indexes, taking a breather ahead of a key jobs data report. Now we've talked about this. What they are awaiting is basically an update on the labor market amid growing hopes for those interest rate cuts. Now, in addition, the market has really continued to see this rally that has accelerated. We've seen buying pressure that has arose across the market, especially with the S&P 500 that continues to set these record highs. Now, the May jobs report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that is going to be coming out 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow on Friday. Now, what this is going to do is going to give us an idea of what the unemployment rate is looking like, and especially here you can see the expectations showing here that payrolls rolls by is 185,000 in May. Unemployment remained flat at 3.9%. That is what the expectations are right now. In terms of what we're seeing with the market, if we see an agreement with this, this means that the probability for those first interest rates coming September will increase. Right now, it's at about a 70% probability of those first interest rate cuts compared to the 50% just a few weeks ago. Now, talking about Palantir, the CEO, Alex Karp, talks about AI right here, and specifically with the AIPcon, talking about these presenters that came up and basically showcasing how AI has really been beneficial for their companies. And specifically what Alex Karp comes out and says here is that the country right now is focused on using AI to have a structural advantage in how they deploy and understand the battlefield right here. And he told us at AIPcon, basically saying that they are continuing to be a leader not only in the commercial markets that we've really seen EIP take an expansion into, but also staying ahead and a competitive leader in the government contracts. And we've seen the proof of this basically right in front of our eyes with the disclosure, of course, of that $480 million contract that we talked about with the Maven Smart system, basically providing these different fighters and intelligence analysts with faster and more accurate information on the battlefield. Nonetheless, here, the U.S. military wants to stay on top of things regarding artificial intelligence and wants to utilize the best technology that's out there. And it's great to see that they are relying on Alex Karp and Palantir Technologies to be able to provide that utility. Bringing a true utility to artificial intelligence is incredibly important. And specifically, what we've seen at this AIPcon is that more than 70 customers, they were scheduled to talk about the crowd about basically how they are integrating and leveraging Palantir's products and tools into their businesses. And Palantir engineers, they also spent time sitting side by side with customers, collaborating on what they could do to help build upon their softwares. And he came up here saying he wasn't paying anybody to present. These are basically just companies coming out that utilize AIP, utilize Palantir to bring improvements and efficiency within their business. An example that I want to share here, United Airlines, they deployed Chime and saved over 100,000 customers from delays in cancellation. Talking about basically predictive maintenance right here. And this kind of shows you how, in terms of average delays and cancellations, millions of dollars, how artificial intelligence is coming in, bringing a return on investment for these companies, improving efficiency, improving productivity, and with that increases revenue metrics. So really right now, it is a win-win type of scenario for these companies getting involved into artificial intelligence and AIP specifically. And with PLTR, where we sit right now, I think we're just going to continue to see an acceleration of momentum on the short-term perspective. Now, one of the big questions is what happens if PLTR is not included into the S&P 500? And we talked about this. I think this is not something to obsess over. I will definitely not be obsessing over it, and that is because they've been eligible since like Q3 of last year to be included in the S&P 500. And sometimes it can be difficult to be included within that index because if stocks go into the S&P 500, that means something has to come out. So with all the criteria that they have met, especially here with 6 quarters of GAAP profitability, it could be happening anytime. And maybe in the next year, that could be more probable. But talking about tomorrow, I think it would be more of a surprise. So we could see a little more volatility here, or a lot of the market could already be kind of expecting this and pricing this in. This could be more momentum from what's actually happening with an AIPcon. Now, lastly, I want to talk about participating in the Nvidia stock split. The number one thing is that you have to actually hold Nvidia shares today, Thursday. You and the actual stock split will occur Friday after the market closes, and the first time that those shares are basically traded on a 4 stock split basis is going to be happening on Monday. Now, remember, Nvidia recently had a strong rally in here, coming over Apple at a $3 trillion market cap, but specifically where we sit right now is just a slightly small pullback on here. Nothing too crazy, still holding at $1,200. So with the jobs data report, I think that's going to have a big influence on volatility within the market, and Nvidia included, since it is one of the biggest stocks that is out there right now. And in addition, with that, Nvidia is also going to be paying a dividend. We've talked about this before. With this, they are going to be paying out their first dividend. If you hold Nvidia, you will be getting 1 cent per share, and that first dividend will be paid out on June 28th. So not going to be occurring until later in the month. So if you're wondering, hey, where is my dividend payment? That is basically just sitting on the sidelines. How this Nvidia 10-for-1 stock split is going to work. Number one, Nvidia is going to become cheaper looking at a per share type of perspective and basis, even though we're not going to have any change in market capitalization or valuation. One thing that I am predicting myself is that we're going to see options volatility that's really going to increase. And that is just due to the fact that these contracts, either call or put contracts, they have the ability to control 100 shares of Nvidia stock. And now at 1/10 of the price, the actual premium for these contracts are going to be much cheaper. So we could see a lot of volatility coming into the AI market, specifically Nvidia, here in the near future. I want to know, what do you guys think is going to be happening with Palantir, especially if we don't get included within the S&P 500? Do you think PLTR is going to pull back a little bit, back to the lower 21s and 20 at that support levels? Or do you think we're going to see that push to previous quarter one price levels around that 25? And with Nvidia, what do you think is going to be happening there? Like I said, a big variable is likely going to be that jobs data report. So catch you guys later. Peace out. Take care and have a great day.